Hey everyone, it's Area of Effect with another out-of-the-box build. This time a re-release, the Bane Blossom build, the Fire Templar that just incinerates DKs. You guys have been asking me over and over again, many of you, to please update and re-release this build for the current patch and also the next upcoming patch, and I have, and it has been so much fun. It's still insanely powerful, and I can't wait to break this down. Let's jump into the stat screen. On the front bar, we almost have 5,000 spell damage, 26% crit. Our penetration can go up with some breach. Look at the resistances and the recoveries, 26 and 2,300, 30,000 plus max health, and we have lots of sustain and healing. On the back bar, it's a resto staff. Here's the stats there. It goes up to over 30,000 resistance and 28 on the physical. But this build is way more than a stat screen, even though that stat screen is pretty hot. Smoke Bear Haunch, we want all those recoveries and that max health, keeping us going, casting skills. We've got the Steed on this build, for that extra movement speed and health recovery. As we're no longer a vamp, we can really get more out of that health recovery, and our cost reductions also go down as a non-vamp. We are an Orc on this build, my favorite PvP class. Max stam, an extra 1,000 there. You need that for everything you do: dodge, roll, break free, block. Unflinching rage, extra max health, that goes a long way, keeping us over 30k. And when you deal damage, you get almost 2,200 back in healing every 4 seconds. I love that. Swift Warrior, weapon and spell damage by 258, and reduce the cost of sprint by 12% and increase the movement speed by 10%, which really double dips into that Steed Mundus. All right, first 5-piece set we're going with is Flame Blossom. We've got the Restoration Staff. This turns on when we go on our back bar, our resto back bar, and turns off when we flip to our front bar. There's a broken synergy between the 5-piece set Flame Blossom and the 5-piece set Elf Bane, which I've gone over in pretty good detail in the Bane Blossom build video. You can check that out. I will touch on it here lightly in this video as well. To show what's broken. You get 3 procs from the Flame Blossom that you're not supposed to get for some reason when you combine it with Elfbane, which, if you read the 5th piece on Elfbane, it just increases damage over times of your flame, damage over times by 5 seconds. We've got 1 piece of Magma Incarnate for the double recovery. We could wear the a full monster set, and I'll get into that option in a second, but the reason why we got 1 piece is because we're going with the Torque of Tonal Constancy. For those extra recoveries, it's a 1-piece mythic. You could use the mythic of your choice, whether it be Sea Serpent's Coil or something else, but we have this Torque of Tonal Constancy on this build for the extra recoveries. We never run out. We're always replenishing, but there is some options. And also, we want the front bar, the 2-piece of the Master's Inferno Staff. We get that weapon and spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds when we use Destructive Touch or one of its morphs. And also, it reduces the cost by 10% of that skill. So it's sharpened with the Poison Glyph. We're already going to give the Burning status effect from all of the Burning and Flame Blossom. I picked Poison for that extra damage and that extra dot potentially. But you could switch to the Berserker Glyph, the 348 weapon and spell damage, and that would put you around 5,300 spell damage. I'm casting Destructive Touch right there for that Flame Dot, and also proccing the Master's additional 600 weapon and spell damage. When I switched to my Resto Staff bar, you saw the Flame from Flame Blossom came on and shot out. There it is again. Hits all 3 targets. Okay, but you're going to see it deal damage 3 times. You see a lot of dots, but the big tick where they light up and you hear the flame sound every 2 seconds. Look at 10,000. You'll look at the middle guy, 10,000. That was it proccing again and again, even though the line didn't come out. And I'll show kind of how this works. It's not supposed to do this. It's been broken for 2 years. The 5th trait of Elfbane increases the flame damage over time by 5 seconds. I just turned it off, so now we have no Elfbane. There goes Flame Blossom. You saw unbuffed 5439. That's it. And 2 damage over times from the burning. That's it. There's no more ticks, no more damage. I can proc it again. Here it goes. It moves through. 5439. They get 2 ticks of the burning status effect as well, the 844, and that's it. Nothing else. I turn them off. I put on the Elf Bane 5th piece. Now the 5th piece is active, and now when I hit them with the anything, with the Resto Staff bar with Flame Blossom turned on, here we go, I'm unbuffed, but just to show for clarity, 5439, 5439, there was an 8,000 on the other one, 5439, and you keep getting the burning from them as well. Now I'll buff up with Major Sorcery and the Master's additional 600 proc, 12,068. Did you see that on the middle target? It procs 3 times. You only see one line move forward, but it keeps procking 2 more times, and also the burning status effect 2 more times. So this is not supposed to do this. It's done this now for 2 years since I last came across it, and what a devastating combo. I don't think they'll ever fix it, but let's jump into the Mythic option now. So you could wear no Mythic and then put on a full monster set, and you have some options here. But the Grothar monster set has usually a 5-second uptime, then a 5-second cooldown, so it can proc every 10 seconds. If you put on Elfbane with Grothar, you get a 10-second uptime, and it's ready to proc again immediately at the end. So you could essentially have a 100% uptime of Grothar just constantly around you. That is a pretty awesome option, especially, you know, with us lunging in with, we haven't gone over the skills yet, but with Toppling Charge. There's Grothar, just keeps swirling around as you see, and it will stay up for 10 seconds, and the moment it goes down pretty much, when the balls that are going in a circle, they come right back up. Do you see that? So that's pretty insane. If you can manage without a Mythic, whether it be the Torque of Tonal Constancy for the recoveries, or the Sea Serpent, or Malakath for damage, or even Markin, then this would be a great option to go with. I just love the double recovery of the Magma Incarnate one piece. I love the shoulder, how it looks, by the way. Right now I've got a Grothar, so you don't see it, but look at real quick, let me interrupt myself, the Destruction Staff Ultimate, goes from 7 seconds to 12 seconds, because it adds 5 seconds with Grothar, with Flame Blossom triple proc, with the Master's Destructive Touch additional 600. Look at all the dots and all the damage. This is a really good option. I was torn between option 1 and option 2, but that's why I'm showing both. If you like that setup, by all means go with that. All right, jumping into the skills section now. On the front bar, the Destruction Staff, Force Pulse. Now this will change next patch. I'm putting this out before the patch is ready, but we do get 3 instances of damage, Flame, Frost, and Shock. But we will be changing this with Magical Soul, okay? But we don't have the ability right now to scribe this with flame damage, but we will come next patch. They're updating it. So we already have the flame signature learned, and so we'll put Magical Soul there with flame, or Flaming Soul it'll be called, and we'll put on the Major Sorcery on it, so we don't have to use Degeneration anymore. But then we got the next skill is our Purification. It's a heal over time. It's a big AoE. You drop it down, it clears off 5 harmful effects, and while in it, heals you every 2 seconds. This is imperative. Do not go into BGs or PvP without this. Next skill, Toppling Charge. You have to have this. Lunge on in, stun them. You get major protection for 4 seconds, decreasing your damage taken by 10%. And you could do it pretty far. It's a gap closer. We get around pretty nice from this. And you could actually, you could fully charge heavy attack and beat your attack there. And they get the off-balance bonus damage from the heavy attacks, which is 70%. When you heavy attack an enemy that's off balance, you get an additional 70% more damage on that heavy attack. The next skill, Flame Reach. This adds another dot, increased by 5 seconds, gives them the burning status effect, but also is used to proc our Master's Inferno Staff, additional 600 weapon and spell damage. I like the morph where I could actually just add a dot versus knocking them back, because I want control of their stun. If you like the one that knocks them back, go ahead and use that morph. The next skill, obviously you can't go without it, Radiant Glory. It's a finisher, damage over time, but immensely more powerful, up to 480% more powerful when they're in execute range, and you heal from the damage. Check out this beam. This skill is imperative on this build. They can't dodge roll out of it. It's essential. You get those finished, get those guys down to lower health and then finish them off. and also it procs our minor sorcery. The ultimate now, Eye of Flame. Usually it's 7 seconds, but look, it's 12 seconds long because of Elf Bane. A 12-second long ultimate. That is insane. People always think it's about to expire, and after 6, 7 seconds, and then they may come back to you or stop running, and they have a lot more burning to go. Moving on to the restoration staff bar, the first skill, Reflective Light. 3 damage over times to 3 separate targets, reduces their movement speed by 40% for 5 seconds, and most importantly, gives us our major prophecy and savagery, increasing our critical chance for our damage and our healing. The next skill, Resolving Vigor, 20,000 health over 5 seconds. It costs stamina. I like having an option to have stamina heals. And it also gives us minor resolve, increasing our physical and spell resistance by 3,000. The next skill, we won't need this next patch, Degeneration. It's a magic damage over time. It costs very little, but it gives us our major brutality and major sorcery for 22 seconds. We will build this into Flaming Soul on the front bar, which will be our spammable instead of Force Shock or Crushing Shock or Force Pulse, and we will get our major sorcery from it as our affix script. And that's going to allow this slot to be open. And you could move this around wherever you want. You could put on Reflect a Power of the Light. You could put for more damage and Sundered and Minor Breach. You could put on the Elemental Susceptibility on the front bar. You could put on the Bubble Heal. Anything you'd like there. The next skill, Breath of Life. This is a big bursty, 12,000 health instantaneously. If you need to spam it like I'm doing here, you get big chunks of healing. And it really gets you out of a pinch if you have all your healing over times going on, and Vigor and Breath of Life. The next one, Restoring Focus. This is the other stamina one I was talking about. We have the Stamina Morph just to restore stamina over time, but gives us our Major Resolve and Major Ward, heals for 840 every 1 second, which scales off the max health, and even more, up to 200% more if we're standing in the rune. But we don't need to be standing in the rune to get the Major Resolve and Major Ward, or get the Stamina Recovery, or get the healing over time. But when we stand in it, we get that additional buffed healing over time. So standing in this rune while also having your other extended ritual, it's just your purification, AoE, heal, dot, hot. Anyway, the next ultimate, Temporal Guard, is this bubble shield we have here. While it's slotted, we get minor protection on this bar. 4 seconds it resets the clock. Check it out. It was just up there. I reset. Now I'm back in this other position. It's great to, drop off an edge, round a corner. Maybe you're out of resources. You just got hit with a Dawning and a nice comet and you're almost dead. You cast that. Now you're back to full. Let's jump into the champion points now. Starting with the blue tree, the first one, Arcane Supremacy, 1300 max magicka, helping us get that up a little bit. Thaumaturge, obviously, for all the damage over time, which is everything we do, including Flame Blossom, even though it's not supposed to be a damage over time. Biting Aura, area of effect attacks by 6%. That's also pretty much everything we do. And the last one, Exploiter, increased damage by 10% to off-balance enemies. We are setting the enemies off balance all the time with Toppling Charge. This is, I feel, the best way to set up this blue tree. Now, moving into the defensive tree, the red tree. The first one is going to be Sustained by Suffering, increase our health, magicka, and stamina recovery by 150 while under the effects of a negative effect. That's going to be constantly in PvP. You'll never not have one. Rejuvenation, an additional 90 health, magicka, and stamina recovery at all times. And the next one is Fortified, increase our physical and spell resistance by 1731. And as you saw in the beginning of the video, that keeps us over 30,000 resistances. And then Boundless Vitality, 1400 max health, keeping us over 30,000 health points. This is definitely how I'd recommend setting up this defensive tree. But that's going to wrap up the CP distribution and wrap up this build video, the Bane Blossom build 2.0. And if you like this build and you want to see more, head on over to my channel. I've got plenty of content on there. All builds, all roles, tanks, damage dealers, healers, stamina focused, magicka focused, everything out of the box, as well as content that is non-build related, tips and tricks, and everything in between. So if that kind of thing is for you, please like, don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of this build and what you'd do differently. Please share with your friends. And as always, thanks for watching. Area of Effect, signing out.